We have significant reason to be excited, and it's not just Colts fans. The rest of the league is now on notice after film has come out of the Colts practice over the first 5 days of training camp. All that and more on this video. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, where we cover all things Colts every single day. And I think it's safe to say that there are more teams looking at the Colts. The Colts have never been like a big market team. They had Peyton Manning, and that was like a huge deal, and then they had Andrew Luck, but they've never been the team that draws a lot of attention. In fact, historically, the Colts have been listed as underdogs in a lot of key matchups that really shouldn't have been underdogs. But this year, it seems like the vibe is different. When the AFC South and it seems that a lot of teams are bulking up, even record predictors are predicting that the Colts have a significant chance at taking the AFC South. But why? What has changed this year as opposed to last? Well, the key here is a healthy Anthony Richardson. And there's some film that's come out that I really want to draw attention to. So we're going to pull this up. This is a clip from Colts Film Room on Twitter that came out, or on X today. And I want to draw some attention to a very clear point. And I'll pause it when I get there. This right here. Go back just a couple steps. This right here, right where you see my mouse drag. The reason that that's important is a lot of key analysts said that when Anthony Richardson, even in college, took that wider step, that a significant amount of his passes were had a better completion percentage than when he was narrow-footed. So what we're already seeing this year, and that's one clip, but from every clip that we've seen this year, his stance is a lot wider. He looks a lot more comfortable in the pocket, and a lot of that comes from an offensive line that he can trust and that he feels like can protect him. There were a significant amount of plays last year of which Anthony Richardson kind of escaped prematurely out of the pocket. Whereas I think that now we're seeing him get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more cautious. We saw that he added 15 pounds of weight in the offseason. So I think that he's feeling a little bit more safe. But when we're seeing this, we're seeing plays that are going for deeper completions and being able to split defenders. All this, and then there's another play that I really want to bring attention to, and that's this play from Adonai Mitchell. And we'll pull it up right here and start that over. This is an insane catch that I think we really need to pay attention to. I mean, just absolutely absurd. Obviously, loses the helmet. A little bit scary there at the end. You really want to make sure. But let's watch this again real quick because I think that it's not a catch that you see an ordinary wide receiver make, and I would even dare to say it's not a catch that you see a second round wide receiver make. This is first round talent that the Colts are getting from a second round guy. Not even just a second round guy, but a mid second round guy. Adonai Mitchell is already showing eliteness in just the few short days of practice that we've got. But not only that, but Josh Downs made like 5 or 6 incredible catches today where he's able to get free. And a lot of it comes from this play design that the Colts are running that they ran quite a bit last year, of which they draw more attention to Jonathan Taylor and then throw to the slot. This is how Josh Downs is going to be successful this year specifically, but in future years to come because of this success. You see slot receivers all the time be really successful if they're able to handle the footwork and handle balls coming at them faster than you see balls coming at your X or your Z wide receivers. And I think that that's going to be a big deal for Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs is going to be a reception machine. In fact, I would dare say, when you're looking at fantasy football this year, Josh Downs needs to be a lock for round 4 or 5 to be able to be up there at your wide receiver position because I honestly believe that Josh Downs is going to have a great year in receptions just after what we've seen already in training camp. But the reason that I think that the rest of the league is on notice is you're starting to see some rumblings. You're starting to see some teams in the AFC South specifically bolster up in key positions that the Colts have already have strengths in. So, for example, we're seeing some more defensive line movement because the Colts have a good offensive line. We talked about that in a few videos ago, that a lot of the teams bolster their defensive line as the Colts continue to upgrade their offensive line. You're starting to see more cornerback and linebacker movement in the AFC South. And yes, a lot of that comes from the Texans and CJ Stroud. But I don't think that the teams are necessarily brushing over the Colts. Remember, The Colts were a couple of short plays away from being a playoff team, and I do believe that they could have gone and done some successful things again with a backup quarterback, with a not 100% Jonathan Taylor, with an injured defense. This is a team that, if they're able to stay healthy, could be lethal. And another point that I think would be we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Tanner Bortolini, who we've talked about to be a replacement possibly as the backup center or even Ryan Kelly's replacement this offseason. Tanner Bortolini is now taking reps at that center position. So I do think that we have a reason to believe that if Ryan Kelly were to go out and not be able to get a long term extension done with the Colts, Tanner Bortolini is a really good, safe option or safe bet to be the center next year and going forward. But I do think this year it does seem that he's taking significant amounts of second team reps at the center position. So there's a lot of reasons that I think the Colts should be excited. You're seeing more and more chemistry. Even Anthony Gould uh, spent his time stretching yesterday with the quarterbacks instead of with the wide receivers. People are catching on to this chemistry. You're starting to see the vibe shift. The Colts have gone viral for their offensive lines walk out, and you're just seeing these big, massive guys who not only move, but move as a unit, move as a force. And I think it's really, really exciting because, again, the vibes are different this year. The vibes are incredibly different this year. But we're also seeing not only is the attitude different, but there is a significant amount of big plays already in practice. And it's not because of blown defenses. Trust me, that was my first thought too. My first thought was the defenses are blowing it. What are we gonna do? We're already like we need this. No, 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 no. This is good defense, but this is a good quarterback reading defense very well. This is something that Shane Steichen pointed out about Anthony Richardson in the winter meetings, or in the offseason, excuse me. Winter meetings is baseball. In the offseason, Shane Steichen commented on Anthony Richardson's ability to see things before he sees them. He talked about when Anthony Richardson would read plays last year, or even in practice, that Shane Steichen would go through progressions, and Anthony Richardson just sees things differently. He doesn't go through your typical primary, secondary, A, B, C, D reads. Anthony Richardson has a unique ability that I do believe makes him a potential for to be really, really good is his ability to see things before they happen. It's almost like when you see Star Wars Episode 1 and Anakin Skywalker is seeing things happen in the pod racing before they're actually happening. Think that, if the Force is real, I think Anthony Richardson's got it because he's able to see a lot in these zone defenses and in the man to man defenses is far beyond what you would see in a second year quarterback, and especially not in a 22-year-old quarterback. I think that Anthony Richardson's got his head on straight. Think that if he's able to figure out a way to get down on these running plays and be able to be as dynamic as we know he can be, the rest of the league is going to have a big problem on their hands, and the big problem is named the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is going to be really, really good, and I'm so excited for what we're already seeing this offseason in training camp.